Naples is one of the oldest and most fascinating cities in Italy, with a history spanning over 2,800 years. In the summer of 2012, an exceptional discovery was made off the coast of Capri, where a sunken cargo of obsidian, lost 5,000 years ago, seemed to prove that the areas around the Gulf of Naples were already inhabited during the Neolithic era. According to the geographer Strabo, some colonists from Rhodes, an island in Greece, established a colony on the islet of Megaride between the 9th and 8th centuries BC, which is now part of Naples' waterfront. Thus, Naples is older than Rome, which was, according to legend, founded on April 21, 753 BC, 2,745 years ago. The city became an important commercial and cultural center due to its strategic location in the Mediterranean. During the Roman era, Naples maintained its significance as a city of culture, art, and commerce. Its famous dialect gave rise to theater, poetry, music, and Neapolitan songs, which you might be familiar with. Have you ever heard O Sole Mio? That song is sung in the Neapolitan dialect. Naples is located in southern Italy. Naples' fortune came from the greatness of its Gulf, or Bay of Naples, an extensive inlet of the central Tyrrhenian Sea, situated south of the city, between the Phlegrean Peninsula to the northwest and the Sorrentine Peninsula to the south. The Gulf of Naples covers 870 square kilometers and has an average depth of 170 meters. The coastline stretches 195 kilometers and includes the entire Gulf of Pozzuoli, the Neapolitan and Vesuvian coasts, the Sorrento Peninsula, and the shores of the islands of Ischia, Procida, and Capri. The Gulf of Naples is dominated by Mount Vesuvius to the east. However, Naples is actually home to two volcanoes, a volcano, Vesuvius, and a supervolcano, the Phlegrean Fields. During the Roman era, the settlements around the Gulf were numerous and renowned. Some of these, such as Pompeii, Herculaneum, Stabiae, Oplantis, and Puteoli, now Pozzuoli, were buried by the lava during the great eruption of Vesuvius on October 24, 79 AD. Today, the famous archaeological excavations at Pompeii give us a snapshot of Roman life in the 1st century AD. The main archaeological treasures found during the excavations of Pompeii are housed in the National Museum of Naples, the largest museum in the city not far from our home. Notably, the third Roman emperor Tiberius, born November 16, 42 BC, and died March 16, 37 AD, chose not to reside in Rome during his reign, but spent the last part of his life on the island of Capri, surrounded by scholars, jurists, writers, and even astrologers. The ruins of his imperial palace still exist in Capri, and can be visited by reaching the island by cable car. The view from where the palace stood is breathtaking. During the Roman era, Castel dell'Ovo, in Latin, Castrum Ovi, the oldest castle in Naples, was built. It remains a prominent element in the iconic view of the Gulf. The castle stands on the Tufa islet of Megaride, Greek Megaris, connected to the mainland by a narrow rock isthmus. This was where Parthenope was founded in the 8th century BC. An ancient legend claims that the name derived from the Latin poet Virgil hiding a magical egg within the building's depths, which had the power to keep the entire fortress standing. If the egg broke, it would not only cause the castle to collapse but also unleash catastrophic disasters upon Naples. During the 14th century, the castle was damaged when the arch on which it rested partially collapsed, and to prevent panic among the population about the alleged future catastrophes, Queen Joanna II had to swear that she had replaced the egg. In the darkest times for the Western Roman Empire, mid-5th century, a nearby villa, Villa Luculliana, hosted the last emperor of Rome, Romulus Augustus, in 476 AD. After a seismic event in 1370 caused the natural arch to collapse, Queen Joanna II had it rebuilt in masonry. After living in the castle as a sovereign, she was imprisoned there by her disloyal nephew Charles of Durazzo, before being exiled to Muro Lucano. After the fall of the Western Roman Empire, most of the Gulf's shores became a Byzantine province, Eastern Roman Empire. Later, these territories gained independence from the Byzantine Empire and founded the Duchy of Naples. This was possible thanks to the intense maritime trade in the Gulf, which allowed various peoples invading southern Italy over the centuries to safeguard independence and benefit from trade. In 1503, during a siege, what remained of the castle's towers was demolished and it was massively rebuilt, taking the form we see today. As weaponry shifted from projectile-based to cannons, the octagonal towers were reconstructed, the walls were thickened, and the defensive structures were oriented inland instead of toward the sea. It was during this period that the entire Kingdom of Naples was conquered in favor of Spain, which installed a viceroy. In the 18th century, Naples, a viceroyalty of the Spanish crown governed by a viceroy of the Spanish monarch, became the capital of the independent Kingdom of the Two Sicilies under the Bourbon dynasty, still of Spanish origin. During this period, the city prospered and was one of the largest and most culturally vibrant cities in Europe. Naples also has another famous castle that is a symbol of Partenope, the old name of the city inspired by the siren Parthenope. It is called Castel Nuovo. This fortress was commissioned by Charles I of Anjou, a French monarch before the Kingdom of Naples fell under Spanish rule, and built starting in 1279. The castle was specifically constructed to guard the city. Even at that time, Castel dell'Ovo, from the 1st century BC, was an old and inadequate structure, while the more recent Castel Capuano from 1160 was not strategically well positioned. The manor's construction was completed in just 5 years, creating not only a fortress but also a new residence for the rulers. This castle, one of the main symbols of Naples, is also known as Maschio Angioino, a medieval term derived from the Florentine mastio, referring to the tallest and most secure tower in case of attacks. However, its exact name is Castel Nuovo, in French, Chastillon Neuf. It was extensively restored in the 15th century, after damage from the 1456 earthquake. Inside, the chapel features a typical medieval structure with narrow Gothic windows that illuminate the room, which still has remnants of its splendid masterpieces, a stunning series of frescoes, including works by the famous Giotto, once adorned the structure. In the early 16th century, new bastions and moats still visible today were added around Castel Nuovo. In the 1600s, the rulers moved to live inside the new royal palace. Still today, Castel Nuovo, or Maschio Angioino, plays an active role in modern Naples, hosting cultural events and performances, especially in its courtyard, and housing the Civic Museum, with a tour that spans many of its rooms. Additionally, the fortress's 2nd and 3rd levels hold the vast library collection of the Neapolitan Society for the History of the Fatherland, founded in 1875. The Royal Palace of Naples overlooks Piazza del Plebiscito. Piazza del Plebiscito is the symbol of the city. It is located in the heart of the historic center of Naples and spans over 25,000 square meters, making it the largest in the city and one of the largest in Italy, bordered by its famous colonnade. It is one of the 4 residences used by the Bourbon kings of Naples during the Kingdom of the Two Sicilies and one of the city's most important art locations. Part of the royal palace houses the National Library of Naples. To the right of the palace, connected to it, is the San Carlo Opera House, one of the largest and most beautiful in Italy. It would be a delight to show you its interior, a true spectacle. Opposite the royal palace, closing off the square, is the Church of San Francesco di Paola. In the center of the 2 focal points of the elliptical square are the equestrian statues of Charles III of Bourbon, the initiator of the Bourbon dynasty, and his son Ferdinand I. A well-known challenge is to walk across the square blindfolded or with eyes closed in a straight line, starting from the door of the royal palace, which is located precisely in the center between the 2 equestrian statues, and try to pass between the 2 statues, but almost no one succeeds. The Basilica of San Francesco di Paola is considered one of the most important examples of Italian neoclassical architecture. It was built in the 19th century at the behest of Ferdinand I, King of the Two Sicilies, after the expulsion of Joachim Murat from the city. The colonnade of the basilica is inspired by St. Peter's in Rome, while its shape recalls that of the Pantheon in Rome. With the unification of Italy in 1861, the Kingdom of the Two Sicilies was annexed to the Kingdom of Italy under the Royal House of Savoy. from the Kingdom of Piedmont and Sardinia, causing Naples to lose its status as a capital and face periods of economic and social difficulties. In the 20th century, during World War II, Naples endured difficult times, including 96 bombings by Allied forces and the challenging post-war reconstruction. The city is also famous for the 4 Days of Naples, a popular uprising between September 27th and 30th, 1943, during which civilians and soldiers loyal to the Kingdom of the South managed to liberate Naples from the occupation of the German Wehrmacht. When the Allies arrived in Naples, they found the city already freed from the German soldiers, requiring no combat. Despite all these challenges and dramatic events, the city has retained its unique character and rich cultural tradition. Today, Naples is known for its history, architecture, art, cuisine, especially pizza and pastries, and its vibrant and chaotic spirit. The Gulf has rich fishing resources that support the local fishing industry. Almost every port is home to a fleet of fishing boats. The fishing activity in Pozzuoli is particularly notable. Naples serves as the hub of maritime transport in the Gulf and is one of the most important ports in the Mediterranean. Due to its natural, historical, and artistic beauty, mild climate, and excellent cuisine, the Gulf of Naples is a unique destination known worldwide. Tourism is one of the main economic activities along the coastal strip. The tourism offerings range from numerous archaeological sites spread across the region, the thermal baths in Ischia, Castellammare di Stabia, or the Phlegrean coast, the natural parks of Vesuvius, the monuments of Naples, the glamour of Ischia and Capri, the underwater parks of Baia and Gaiola, to the beauty of the Sorrento Peninsula, including Sorrento, Vico Equense, Positano, and Amalfi. The historic center of Naples has been declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site for its extraordinary beauty and historical richness. Naples continues to be a symbol of resilience and creativity, with deep ties to its cultural and historical roots. There would still be so much to say and tell about Naples, but I don't want to overdo it. I have already gone on too long, maybe even too much. After all, if I tell you everything now, what will I have left to say when we're in Naples enjoying a coffee and a sfogliatella or a baba or a fiocco di neve? If I bored you with all this information, I apologize. My intention was only to help you appreciate as much as possible what you will see during your unfortunately brief visit to Naples. I could do something similar about Rome with an extreme summary of its long history and the deeds of its great characters, but maybe it's better not to, for my own safety.